Hello everyone, I'm Andrew Can, and if I can grow a YouTube channel, then you can too. It is good to be here live. I'm super excited to give you a step-by-step guide on what it takes to grow a YouTube channel. I'm really excited for everything we're going to be talking about today. The stuff I've used here has helped me grow many channels to over 100,000 subscribers, and I'm super excited to be here with all of you. If you're watching the replay, I heavily encourage you to check out the YouTube chapters to see maybe there's a section you're super interested in. I highly recommend checking out all of it. Now, before we get into that, a couple of things I want to bring up. First and foremost, if you are unaware, I am wearing some of our Discord server merch. So if you have not already, please consider joining the Discord server. It'll be linked in the description down below if you're watching the replay, or if you're in chat, it'll be posted, I'm sure, by one of the many helpful moderators. I see Ike, I see Aaron. So super excited to mention the Discord. You can ask any questions you have when it comes to creating content there. I'm super excited to kind of discuss what we're going to be doing here today. And honestly, a lot of what we will be discussing is going to be around the different ways that you can grow a channel. And it's going to be step by step. So I want to give people a little bit more time. I see some people here in the chat. Really good to be live with everyone. Super excited too. So I know I kind of look like a floating head in this dark void, but hopefully it is not too distracting. Note to self, I will get a little bit more kicker on this light. Hopefully you guys can see it on the right-hand side there. But the first thing I always tell people when it comes to creating a YouTube channel, and this comes from many different sizes, this whether you have 0 subscribers, you've been around YouTube for a while, this is so important. And the first thing you need to remember is that you need to identify your community. You need to do research on what they need. And what I mean by that is a lot of times people will say, I know my YouTube I have a community. I know who I'm creating for. But what I mean is be very granular. I want you to be in the community. When you are creating, when you are researching, you are literally trying to see what conversations people are having in the community. And it is so important that you understand what's being said, you understand what people are talking about. And when it comes to how you can do this, there's so many ways now more than ever. And I'm really excited about it too. So there are ways, if you are unaware, I'm going to share them with you. So if you want to know what people are talking about, one of the best ways is just through Google Trends. Again, I'll make sure that these are all linked in the description for you in the replay. Moderators, if you can post them in the chat. But Google Trends is such an amazing way to show this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, let you guys see a little bit of behind the scenes. But Google Trends is so invaluable when it comes to it. And when I talk about, things of this nature, I really do mean how helpful Google Trends is. So a lot of times where people get lost in the keyword research is that they don't realize that what you're looking for is not only questions people have, but you're looking for ways that you, as a creative, can interject your expertise. So I focus on helping creators on a bunch of ways. Usually I say overcoming hurdles. So one of the biggest hurdles is how to film videos, gear, editing, YouTube in its general. So the first thing I always do whenever I have an idea, right? So one idea I have recently is lighting. I look up, YouTube lighting. So that's just a very simple one. I can see here, search term. I'm actually going to switch from web search to YouTube search. You can do this if you're unaware completely for free. So this lets me know how many people on average, and it says interest over time. If you hover over to the help, number represent interest relative to the highest point on the chart, given region and time. A value of 100 is the peak popularity, meaning it can't get any higher than this. 50 means it's about half as popular. A score of 0 means there's not enough data. But I can see, right? YouTube lighting, something I'm really passionate about. It's something that usually doesn't get as much interest as some of the other stuff. I just want to make sure that we talk about it because it is super important. Now, whatever you're interested in, you can let me know in the chat and we can do some research here live. It is super important that you talk about these things. So this is something I want to talk about, but now let's go deeper. What are the conversations, right? I see that this is in the camera topic, best lighting for YouTube videos. Lighting for YouTube videos. So these are some other stuff I can look up. I can change the term. Maybe I look up a light brand I want to talk about, right? So I can type in aperture light. That's just a brand of light. So if I type in aperture light, well, I can see light topic. So let's go into light topic and we can see different things, right? Some of these may not make sense for us, some of them might. So this is where you as a creator have to kind of discuss and just, figure it out. And sometimes, like, I have an idea for a video and maybe there isn't that much research that I can do. But there are lots of ways that you can always find out more conversations, right? Maybe I want to do film audio, right? I can talk about audio. So maybe I put video audio, right? So that's something that people will want to know about, I'm sure. And then audio and video rooms, Facebook was the most increased. You can see YouTube freezes, audio continues. You see kind of what people are looking for. Video picture frame with audio. Some of these make sense, some of them don't. But, I see Adobe Creative Cloud. I can talk about audio in the Creative Cloud. These are ideas, these are conversations. I can also go to Google. Google, just in general, gives you what people are also looking for. Yes, I just Googled Google, but that is my boomerness for the day. But let's say I go into YouTube audio, right? It can show me what people are searching for. People also tend to search for YouTube audio library, YouTube audio books, library free, how to get YouTube audio library sound effects, free audio library. And these are topics. These are based, again, I'm a little bit in the way here, so maybe I'll split the view a little bit better. But these are ways that we can look this up, right? So we can see YouTube library free. And these are all things. And also, I see Homekeeping channel is 1 a.m. in London. Thank you so much for joining us, even though it's 1 a.m. I hope you're enjoying the content. But you can also see free music to use in the related searches. This is super helpful. So maybe I can go into YouTube lighting and we're going to get different things. And maybe instead of YouTube, I can see some of these. I can see related cheap lighting for YouTube videos, best YouTube lighting. Again, we're just looking what people, the conversation. So if I want to make a video about YouTube lighting, I can see people are looking for cheap lighting for YouTube videos. They're looking for professional lighting for video. These are all conversations, all things that are so important that we're making sure we're talking about. And from the conversations that people are looking at and what they need, we can figure out what our audience wants. So this is Google Trends. And now within YouTube, which this is something I'm excited for, if you go into your YouTube studio, right? We're going to go over to analytics. So you guys, if you're following along at home, we're going to go to analytics and then research. So here we can enter, there's so much. Now you may not have this. This is in a rollout beta from YouTube. As we all know, they are in love with their rollout betas. However, the cool thing is you can look at search terms that are relevant to our channel, right? So how to make money online. That's relevant to my channel. People want to know. I can save this and then keep this later. It has a high search volume on YouTube. Me at the zoo makes sense. I have an older video. If I'm not interested in that, that's a hint to me. If I don't want that crowd, if that is something I should probably unlist that video. How to verify your YouTube account. I have a video on that. How to make thumbnails. That's something I really enjoy talking about. So maybe I could cover that so you could save these terms, right? Lightroom, we can see how to use Instagram, but we can see how to grow a YouTube channel. These are all things. How to open YouTube channel, YouTube Studio, all things that I could easily talk about, a PC setup. So these are things I can see that my viewers are searching for. It says start with an example instead, how to, all these different things. So I want to go YouTube lighting. I do YouTube lights. Let's see what happens. Lights for YouTube videos, medium, best lights, low, and it gives me more information. And this is free. And that's the cool thing, is that there are so many free resources out there nowadays, and it is the best time to create content and have different ways that you can be part of the conversation. So to recap, the first step is you need to identify your community. For me, I did that at the start here. If you're watching live or in the replay, who is your community? Please let me know. I'm always curious to see who people are trying to help. I also see Dark Side Studios says hello. Hello there, Dark Side Studios. So the next thing I want is to focus on is how you make a plan of attack, right? So we've saved some of these ideas, and I will go ahead and share my screen once more, and we can see that we have saved some of these ideas. We click here, how to make money online, how to make thumbnails, how to grow a YouTube channel, how to open a YouTube channel. Maybe I do YouTube audio, right? That's something I'm really passionate about. I can see YouTube audio library. I could talk about that. I could do YouTube audio in general. How to record audio for YouTube videos makes sense. So all of these, again, I'm going for these conversations. I now have saved, but how do I take these from saved to more actionable, right? This is something I always hear when it comes to keyword research is, Andrew, I have all the research. I just don't know how to prioritize what I should be creating, what I should be doing. And this is a common problem. And I see it a lot where you've done so much research, which is hard. Like, if you've done good research, I just want to take a moment to say that's hard. And you should be proud of yourself because good research can be difficult. But the thing is, when it comes to YouTube in general, you'll want to make sure that you're keeping your ideas organized. Now, there are a lot of free softwares out there. There are Google Sheets, there are Asana, there's Trello, there's Monday.com, there's ClickUp, Notion, whatever works for you is what I recommend. Now, I like Asana. That's just the one I tend to use. So use what works best for you is what I always tell people. Now, I use Asana just because it's what I use at work. It's what I'm kind of familiar with. So I want to go ahead and show my Asana project board. If you're watching and joining in live, hello, 30-day reviews. Hey, it's Andrew Can. Great to see you. Actually, this was kind of inspired by a tweet 30-day reviews have. If you're not following on Twitter, highly recommend it. And on YouTube here, is that when it comes to content, a lot of times and this is something I've recognized, is that I'm not always the most reflective inward. So this stream is showing some of the ways that I've been able to grow a lot of different channels to over 100,000 subscribers, some to even millions now. So it's the Andrew Can Do crew. It is the Can Do creator community. We have merch. I think it'll be linked below this. We also have a Discord server. So thank you so much, everyone. But step 2 is organizing your thoughts. And one of the ways I was mentioning it is I use Asana. You can use so many different things. So for me, this is what my Asana board looks like, right? You can see this is behind the curtains as it gets. I will be critical. I will zoom in. Hopefully, there's got to be a way, right? Of course not. Maybe if I go to the desktop version. Yeah, we'll go to the desktop version. Nothing wrong with that. So anyway, I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second. As I get to that, I just wanted to say, there's lots of different ways that you can do this for free. And you're going to be taking the ideas there and really going more in depth. You're saving them so you don't forget them. So we're going to go here through the desktop app. Like, wait, you have the desktop app. So here, if we share my screen once more, going to go ahead. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here live. Good to see you there, Richie Reed. Happy to have you here with us. Happy to have you all here. Very excited just to talk about YouTube and just thinking of ways that you can take action. And that's something I want to empower people on. So I mentioned that whatever you're using, whether it's Asana, whether it's Trello, Google Sheets, you need to have a way to take your ideas and implement and execute. So I'm kind of showing how I do it, right? So these are some YouTube video ideas. Will I make them? Well, a couple of the places I'm going to go, I have a new one here, how to make money online. This is something that I have a lot of friends I could talk about, right? So I just take the idea, I've done some of the research, how to make money online. Maybe this makes sense. Maybe I don't. Because actually, it's funnily enough, a little bit of foreshadowing, something I want to talk about in these, how to set up a YouTube channel for success. So, I just make it YouTubeified. And then from here, right, I change where I'm at. So I've not even started this priority wise. I always try to find what priority that YouTube says, right? So high, let's make it a high priority. I want to say people need to hear this. And then I can set a date. This helps me keep up to date with where I'm at. So let's say I want to start uploading on Thursdays. I'll just say July 14th. It's a far date in the future. But here you can see like how I categorize things. This is a community video. This is something I think would be good for the community. A view sub video. This is something where I know my subscribers. That's how I've gained a lot of subscribers, which is something we'll talk about a little later. I have money videos. Hey, this is a business to some people. Sometimes it's good to make some money on what you're doing. So sometimes I have this as this is something I know that I can make as a sponsorship, which brings me to sponsorship, right? So we have sponsor video, collab, promo. People need to hear this. This is something that may not be heavily searched, but in my heart, I know that people need to hear this. And that can be a great piece of content that I need to make anyway. Client video. Sometimes I have a video I need to help a client with. I do some consulting on the side. So sometimes I have that. Experimental video. I don't know how this is going to go, but I need to make it. And then, of course, live stream, and you can add more. But the idea is, right, is that you do your research, you find them over here, wherever you're saving, whether it's Google Trends, it's, YouTube, whether it is you're using a third-party app, whatever you're using, have a way to organize it that works for you. I have video ideas and I have scripts, so you can see. I did a poll recently on my community tab. One of them is 5 tips to record better audio. I comment on Asana to keep up. So here's the video script. And you have different ways that you can see it. So I have these scheduled here so that I can create content that I can be actionable with these items. And I think that is one of the things I would say. Step 2 is having a workflow in a way that you can have a plan of attack. For me, it is Asana. I like it a lot, but use what works best for you. I have notes I take and I have in this journal here. I got this as a gift from a very nice company. So what I will do, right, is if I need to take notes, I just write them down. Whatever you need to do to get the stuff you need, do it. And I'll put that back there. But it's whatever works for you. And that's the beauty of what we offer and what we do here on YouTube is finding what works for you. Because again, going back to step 1 is that at step 1, we know that we've identified our community. We identified people are searching and are having conversations about these topics. So I think this goes on to beautifully to step 3. And that is a lot of people, and I've been guilty of this in some of the teachings I've done, is that YouTube is both a search engine. It's the second largest search engine in the world, but it's also a discovery engine. Now, what does that mean exactly? Search is for people actively looking on YouTube for ideas or content to watch. Discovery are the people that YouTube is recommending content to. A lot of times, us who teach YouTube or know how this works, we will tend to go more on the YouTube side of things because it's easier to understand that there's an X amount of people searching for this and that there's X amount of interest. So if we make a video, it's safe, it's reliable, and it's one of the 3 pillars YouTube recommends. Those 3 pillars, if you're unaware, are helpful content, hub content, which is your regular scheduled programming, and more of the hero content. So that's really what it is down to. So I see Mantis has said that they're very busy. I see Homekeeping Channel says, thanks to Ike, same with Richie Reed. But my question to you is if you are creating content and you are here live or if you're watching in that replay, is how are you keeping track of all your video ideas? I'd love to know how you're doing that. For me, as I said, showed Asana. But as we continue, we need to talk about YouTube as not just that search engine, which it is, but as a discovery engine. And when we think about that, this is kind of where being more compelling, right? A lot of times we say make a title searchable because it's easy to understand if people are looking for how to record better audio. I can make a video called 5 tips to record better audio. That's super simple. But how do I make that compelling, right? That's where we as creators need to give people a reason to watch. So 5 tips to record better audio is easy, but it's not compelling. So maybe I could say 5 tips to record better audio cheap or affordably. That immediately is different than just the 5 tips because these are affordable things that anyone can do. Maybe 5 tips to record better audio for beginners. So if you're just starting, that's a great idea for that audience. So all in all, it's finding ways not only to be searchable, which we have done, and I kind of showed a little bit, but it's the thing of also being compelling. 5 tips to record better audio and never make another mistake. Can't guarantee that, so I wouldn't make that a title, but that's just an idea of being compelling. 5 tips to record better audio on your phone. Then I've segmented that general idea and made it specific, and I can go multiple directions. So one idea can become many. So one of the main reasons is sometimes, especially in streams, I might have a guest come on. So just want to set the boundary. Also, a lot of times I'll be reviewing something and there might be video. So I want to hear it and I don't want echo. So that's usually why I keep the cans on. Also, they're called cans. I'm Andrew Can. Do the math. Hopefully that helps answer that question. So the one I showed earlier, yes, on screen is called Asana. This is one of my favorite ways. There are lots of different Asana has a free version. I'm not sponsored by Asana, so there's Asana, there's ClickUp, there's Trello, there's Notion. I know Rob's a Notion man. So use whatever works for you, but I just really like Asana in terms of workflow. I also have to use it for work, so it kind of keeps me familiar in a system that I have to use pretty regularly. So that's kind of my tip number 3, and that is to remember there are people who, if YouTube is showing, and you can see this, in fact, this is a little bit more behind the scenes for you. We're gonna go, and I'm gonna show you in analytics. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring that view up again. Need to set this up with my Stream Deck. But if I go here, right, in analytics, if we go to overview, or if we go to reach, actually, let's go to reach. So one of the things that I see a lot is people don't understand impressions truly. And it's very simple what impressions are. So an impression, when I look here, is if I click on this, actually it may not work with this view, but oh well. So basically, what an impression is how many times that YouTube themselves have recommended your video. So this is a thumbnails were shown to viewers. So this includes on YouTube, not external sites, but this means that this is YouTube showing them. This can be in search, this can be in multiple locations, right? But this is YouTube trying. I've earned 152,500 impressions for this month. This is 14% less. I haven't uploaded as much, so that also plays a factor into it. There are lots of factors. Hello there, Kathleen Hansen, who says hello from Seattle. How does the video creator make sure closed captions are activated during live stream? I have low hearing, and oh, that's something I can do. That's actually a great call out and something that I will make sure to take now. I can show that. This will be step 3.5. And this goes into very important stuff, which is you want to be accessible. That's one of the things that I want to be more of. So let me go ahead and show. I can't show it live, only because there you could find my stream key and some information that I don't feel comfortable sharing. Basically, if someone gets my stream key, they could accidentally take over. But in the live streaming area of YouTube, there is an option that you can make it to where it's Google's auto captions, which aren't perfect. This I'm just going to bring up this comment so that people can know. I want to make sure I'm being a little bit more inclusive. Thank you so much for the check. I do appreciate that. So let me go ahead and go into the live studio. I should be able to do this from here. Oh, I can't really. You cannot enable closed captions once you're already live. Interesting. That's actually super interesting. You would think. I apologize for that. That'll be something that Kathleen Hansen, I'll make sure for the next one. I did not realize that I could not do that now. Interesting. I do apologize, but thank you so much for letting me know. So 30-day review says that's not something YouTube currently does, but I do believe there are apps. It actually does. It's through the back end in the live studio, but unfortunately, I can't do it when I'm live. And I guess their reasoning would probably I don't actually have a good reasoning on that. That's just something I'll make sure to correct for you next time. I am so sorry, but I do appreciate that. And that goes to knowing your audience, right? One of the things that I really care about is accessibility, and that was me not thinking. And I think it's important. I talked about 30-day reviews challenging some of us on Twitter. And so for me, that's one of those ways that I'm trying to be a little bit better, is like being more transparent and reflective. So we do listen, we do care sometimes. Not so much that we care all the time, but we do listen sometimes. So go back to what we were kind of talking about, which is not only a search engine. I want to show how you can kind of see this, right? So if we go to see more, we understand impressions a little bit. You can see that for me, you can see the different videos, how they're doing. One of the things I always tell people is go to traffic source, right? To see how you are doing in the grand scheme of YouTube in terms of just all the different ways you can get views. So YouTube search, that is that tried and true. That's the stuff we've been talking about. That is the bread and butter for a lot of creators. It's one of those things where I just want to make sure that we are talking about it. Can you guys still hear me? Should be able to. Just triple checking. Let me know. Obviously, you guys will tell me, I'm sure. So as I look here, I'm going to make sure that, there's YouTube search. This is the one that I said search term. It's very clear. Search terms by viewers. Suggested, right? Views from suggesting appearing alongside or after other videos, right? So with that, browse, right? These are two other traffic sources. This is that search and suggested. Now, I was at about this 1.3 on these. I've actually been making a very conscious effort to improve these. And the reason for that is this is YouTube when they share your content out against everyone on the platform. So if I go to suggested, you can see some of the videos. This is another way you can get ideas for videos, right? These are all the things that people have, my videos have been suggested for, and it shows you their click-through rate, right? You can search by which videos have the highest, right? So like some of these will have 100% because YouTube showed it to one person. That's why you have to have impressions. You have to know the impressions. You just can't go with the click-through rate, right? Because I can hit 100%, which is going to skew that data. But the truth is that they only showed it to one person. That person happened to click, gave me 100%. So I look for more data. You can go buy the impressions, which is what I recommend, right? So how to mount acoustic foam without damaging your walls is another video similar to mine. This one has gotten me 825 views. It's gone to 6.7% click-through rate, leading to 78% views. So it's understanding that are when YouTube shows. This is that discovery like side of YouTube working. So that is step 3. It's remembering that it is not only a search engine, it is a discovery engine, and it is so important when it comes to it. Now, for me, I thoroughly think that that side of YouTube can get kind of overlooked because it's harder to teach. Doesn't mean it's invaluable. It's just a little bit harder to teach, but you need to think what would entice someone. This video is not only searchable, it needs to be compelling. So that's step 3. Step 4, and I think this actually goes into another important stuff. So we talked about, the conversations people are having in step 1, looking those up. We talked about in step 2, having a way to keep you organized, keep you remembering who you're creating the content for. In step 3, understanding that YouTube is not only a search engine, it is a discovery engine. So step 4 is that remember you're building a relationship with your audience, the people who are spending their time with you. So I see Insane McLean, right? I see Kathleen is here. I see, 49 Cent Rage Hamilton, right? So we have all these different stuff that we need to make sure that we are keeping pretty well. And one of the things you have to remember, especially, is that there's different kind of content policies that YouTube has, that there are different ways that you can build a relationship, and that it is up to you to foster the relationship you have with your audience. And for me, I think we have a really good community, both on my channel here as well as on our Discord server. So when you're building a community, it is a relationship, right? There are expectations. So I always say that it's not a dating, although if you go to the history of YouTube, at one point it was a dating website. The main focus is that on the niche, however you pronounce it, you are in, you need to focus on making sure the conversation are not always the same conversations, right? Think about it with any relationship you have with someone IRL. In that relationship, if that other person only talks about themselves or the same thing every time, it gets boring pretty quickly. And you don't want your audience to feel that when they're having a conversation with you. So my best advice when it comes to this is doing that research, looking at the comments, including them. Some easy ways that you can do that are through polls through the live stream, polls through your community tab. I see Rob Balasabas in the house. Good to see you there, Rob. That's a good reason, Rob. If you want to join, let me know. But we're talking about our points, right? And so for point 4 is remember we're building a conversation, a relationship. One of the things you have to do is you have to decide what you will and can accept in the conversation you're having with your audience, right? So my audience, I want them to have that can-do attitude. That's that KD, can with a K, do with a D. But you understand that that is kind of why you're having this. You're having these conversations so that you're making sure everything is good. Thank you so much. Homekeeping Channel says 5 hours of sleep before getting to work. I hope you have a great the rest of your summer and best of luck at work. I'll make sure to be a little bit more kind to those on the other end. Just it has been a while since I've streamed. Just really excited to do so. So with that, I think the next thing we need to think about in terms of the content is that conversation, right? So when you are planning your content, make sure it's varied in your niche, right? We've all had a friend who has completely changed their personality from what we knew. That usually doesn't do. Rob, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rob. I really do appreciate it. It says Andrew is the man. Rob, we will be hanging out very soon. Super excited to see you. Thank you so much, Rob, for the super chat. And thank you, 30-day reviews. Hit the bell. Select all so you know when Can posts or goes live. Thank you so much, 30-day reviews. You know, one thing I've been doing a pretty bad job about, and this goes back to the community, is I have not been informing the community as much as I should have on what's been happening in my life, such as I moved. So the content has been a little bit, surprising. I am going to be recording every, once a week and then live streaming the other. So next live stream is probably going to be on a Tuesday at a better time, maybe on a weekend. Trying to find best time, maybe a Sunday. This is where, you talk to the relationship. I'll pull the audience. That's what I'm going to do after the stream. Figure out what would be the best time for the audience. I can also, knowing that I have access to the analytics here, and this is good for anyone who needs to, is that you can go to the audience tab, right? Or did they move it once? It's still in the audience. You can see when your viewers are on, right? So I'm looking here. Saturday, I have a lot of my viewers are on, and Sunday I have a pretty good amount too. Although it seems Saturday, Sunday, and Monday seem to be that many of my viewers are on. This is very many of your viewers. I do wish that YouTube would change the language here. Hey, Braystar, great to see you. But I know that this is when my audience is on. So not only can I ask them, but I can see it there too. I think that's important when it comes to YouTube, is remembering that it is a conversation you're having with the audience and that a conversation goes both ways. So that's something that, looking critically, I need to get better at, is communicating when I'm moving or something has changed. If you've spent a bit, but this is my new set. If you've seen my latest video, you may know. One of the things I'm going to be doing is working on another video when it comes to, how to set up a live streaming area, because I've had some success with that. And that's something I want to talk about. Dr. Elo in the house, to quote my good friend, Dr. Elo, F the tech. Make sure that you focus on what's important. That's that content creation. And what's important now is the conversation and relationships you're building in your community. And that's why I always say, make sure when it comes to YouTube that you keep your audience informed, you keep them top of mind. And another thing I would say, and this goes into, kind of step 6, is when it comes to creating content, don't discount the other kind of content you can create on YouTube. Creating a playlist and sharing that with your audience counts as activity on the website, and it gives something new, right? Another thing you can do when it comes to YouTube is make sure that you're trying stories if you have access. Of course, I understand that YouTube does have some of these features harder to do. But if you can, try live streaming, try stories, try community tabs, try polls, try everything that you have access to in your arsenal of content creation, because they are so important to keep you as a creator trying new things, testing new things. And one of the things that I've been working on is making sure that when it comes to YouTube, I'm experimenting. I've been putting out more stories. One thing I know is new, which I know my friend Rob in the chat has been doing very well, is making trailers for live streams. For the next one, Rob, I'm going to put a trailer. Rob has some of the best trailers. If you're not subscribed to Rob, go ahead and do that in the comments. But, oh, hello, K-Elastic TV. That's another thing. I finally, since I'm getting back into streaming, can test cooking. I have a long needed stream where I'm going to be cooking and doing YouTube. So that is super important. Rob says trailers rock. Yes, they do. And Dr. Elo. But trailers rock. That's what I was going for. He's also saying hello to Dr. Elo. But yes, trailers rock. They absolutely do. And it's something I need to get better at. But this goes back into that conversation that we're having with our audience, right? And this goes into the other forms of content creation. So we're up to 5 steps already. And notice how all of this, right, before we ever create content, we just talk about planning and executing. And the reason I focus so much on that is you would not build a house without a blueprint. You should not build a YouTube channel without one too. And it doesn't need to be like super exact. It needs to be for the people you want invited into your house, into your store, into your business. And if you don't do that up front, it can be very hard later on. And I've had channels with hundreds of thousands of subscribers built around something they never really cared about, but that's all they have, and they feel forced to do it. I want you to enjoy YouTube. I want you to enjoy this conversation, this relationship we're building. And that's why it's so important. And, I talk about building a store, building all these things. Let's actually focus on how we can build our store, right? So I'm going to go to the YouTube dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Here we are, nothing to hide. Well, I say that, but earlier I didn't want to show off my stream key. Trust you guys, just don't, want to do that. So one of the things we can do when it comes to, everything that we're trying to do is channel layout. You can go to your YouTube studio by clicking studio, click on customization, right? And the channel layout and the customization, this is your YouTube store. This is the bread and butter. This is where people are going to join. And this is where it is important to remember all of the different things when it comes to, how you lay it out. So the first thing I always say is that you want to lay out your YouTube channel like a store. You want people to be able to come in, know what you're about, and you want to let them have entryways. So I call this, you want to have doorways, not just windows. And again, a window is I can see through it, but it can only open from one side. Generally, apparently, there are windows that open from both sides. A little scary for me. Just a different conversation, different day. But the reason is that you can view in and they can open on one side, but it's not really inviting, right? But a door, anyone can usually open on both sides. Again, we're not getting super technical, but I've had people. So that's what I always say when it comes to, you want ways that people can join. So for my channel trailer, right, I have how to remove a person from the background of a photo for free. This is something that was heavily searched. I know that people want free things, so that was the focus on this video. This is a great example of something I do, helps creators with YouTube, and it's a really good spotlight of how I feel. Doesn't have to be a channel saying, here is my channel, here's what I've always been about, here's my favorite taco. It could be about something you're proud of. It doesn't have to be a very specific video. And I actually usually like a video from the creator. Give me an idea of what I'm getting. If I'm subscribed, and because a lot of the people I know have subscribed because I made video about audio, how to install acoustic foam, I have that video for those returning subscribers. This is also my latest video. Just so happens to fit both of those very well. And then, I go into featured playlists, right? So I have my Andrew Can recent uploads. I always, you can add a section here to do this. You can have the default YouTube uploads and popular uploads, and there's nothing wrong with it. However, the difference between creating your own and having YouTube is that whenever someone searches your name, which the bigger you get, the more likely that is, when you have your channel name and recent uploads, that playlist can show up. And I see from 30-day reviews just said, I just found out today that you can select the exact order you want videos to show up in on the playlist. Absolutely. And this gives you so much more control. You can create playlists, you can customize them to your liking, and this goes so much. But if you have the default ones from YouTube, right? And these are those default recent uploads or the uploads and popular uploads, you lose creativity, you lose control, and you can do so much more of that. So I always recommend creating your recent uploads because you want people to see you're active. Next, if you do streams, I always say have your upcoming live streams. If you're a shorts creator, you can actually have your short videos coming up. So gives you an idea. For me, I have yet to upload shorts, but this goes into when I do. They will be here. I have them towards the end because that's not going to be the main focus of my channel, but just want to make sure. I am very good, K-Elastic TV. I am honestly super excited. I actually checked out one of your recipes recently, and it looked amazing. I see Mantis says, hey, that's a channel idea, all about types of tacos, how each place makes them. That is an idea, and who knew? So, and then I see that, I see, it's funny because I know you as Bravestar, but I see your Spanglish and Dexter said that meetup is down the road, 10 minutes from his apartment. That's cool. But that goes to the community, right? And you want to have easy access ways for your community. So have your recent uploads. And then I have understand how YouTube works. This is something I get asked all the time. Hey, I don't really understand this. Can you help me? This live stream, when it's in the replay form, might make sense to be in there. Then I have my general Andrew's analysis. This is what I just call the videos where I go a little bit deeper. I give them my analysis. Then I have my short films. I'm still a film creator. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll do an effect in a short film, then make a breakdown and lead back both ways. So, have have different pathways. Then I have how to get better audio for YouTube. I have different videos. So this one is one of my most watched videos. It is how to install acoustic foam. You'll see I have different ways. You can see different forms of audio help. So again, you're having different pathways. You're having ways on your channel. And again, you can create by, viewing the channel. If I click this, it'll show me the YouTube channel. It says that I'm live now. But if you want to create a playlist, it's pretty easy to do so. There are multiple pathways to create playlists. So what I always tell people is one of the easiest ways is to save to playlist. Click here and then create new playlists. So just go on the 3 dots of a video. If you want to focus like this one, I want to add to a playlist. So why don't we go to how YouTube works? Because I think that works. You can see it's also in my Andrew Can live streams. But I think, focusing on the different playlists, having different types really can help. So understand how YouTube works. It has been added. If you want to get there at a different way, you can actually extend this menu here. And then you can just click playlists and it'll take you here. And the cool thing about playlists is they all have their own unique data points. So there are analytics for playlists. There's so many different things, right? So you may notice that this playlist has a bunch of different videos all about audio. It has a unique description. And I can set a couple of things, right? So I can I can allow this to be embedded. If I add a new video to this playlist, it'll be the first video on the top. I can make this an official series. This just helps when YouTube recommends. So if you don't have videos that are in multiple playlists, super recommended that you do that. Cocktail Legend says, "Hey Andrew, hey Cocktail Legend, great to see you here. Love that channel banner." So when it comes to, focusing on creating the content, you want to make sure that you have those doorways. And you can see this on the channel here. You can see how I have a description. Super important to describe your playlists. It helps YouTube understand and how to recommend that playlist. It helps your viewers. So Andrew Can recent upload, Andrew Can's recent upload. Stay up to date with Andrew Can and what he is uploading on YouTube. Join Andrew Can as he knows how I have my name in there 3 times. That's not accidental. That is on purpose. And the reason is for SEO. I want when people to look up Andrew Can, that this playlist can show up. I'm aware of that, so I make sure that is there. Hello, Annette. Great to see you. Always good to see some familiar faces in the live stream. Super excited to be here. So I had this with some of my most common things. People want to know how YouTube works, so I put them right front and center. I have Andrew's analysis. So this is tips for better content. These are things that I have done. You can see that I have an overhead camera setup, some camera lighting gear. I have my short films. I have how to get better audio. So these are different things. Ideally, I actually might change this, which is, as I've learned and as you continue to learn, there are different ways that you can change and customize. So if we go back to customization, I actually think I might change where I have some of the order. Instead of understand how YouTube works, which is really searched, I want to have better audio, and then I want to have my Andrew's analysis. These are my top 3 things past this. And so I made a change live. Anytime you make a change, though, you want to hit publish. Hello there, Helen. Helen says, "Thank you for sharing these tips, Andrew. Always a great resource. Happy to help." And again, this goes that there's already a recent tab built in. That's why I talked about making your own, because it can be searchable, whereas the recent tab everyone has. If you make your own, it has so much more to be searchable. I'm going to practice my own advice and drink some water. But as we continue on, I think it's important that you create your own, because YouTube's isn't as suggested as it. YouTube can make their own mix, but that's a little bit harder. If you make your own playlist compared to relying on YouTube, as I said, you control the SEO, you control the order, you control so much more. And it's not always about control, but when it comes to thinking about your audience, having the best experience, that's what I try to think about. That's what I try to do. And I hope you do too. And it goes back to that relationship we're building. We've gone through a lot of steps in a quick amount of time, considering. And so the last thing I kind of want to talk about in terms of some of these, and I want to take some questions and we'll continue going on. So this isn't over. Watching you. But I want to talk about gear. And if Dr. Elo is still in here, he will be hopefully agreeing. His whole thing is F the tech. But I see a lot of times when people start creating that they focus on gear. And when they focus on gear, it's in the wrong order. They're like, I got to get a better camera, better, a better, editing software. And it's like, all these things are great. However, a lot of the times, the camera we have in our phone is more than enough. I have a phone that is a couple years old. I use it all the time. It's literally in reach. This is my Google Pixel 3. It does great video. I used it in my overhead camera rig. I'm using it in a video recently. A lot of times, a phone is more than enough. But when I mean that they focus on the wrong gear, is I've seen so many people have amazing video from their phone, but the audio or the lighting isn't as good. And then they buy a better camera expecting that to fix all the issues. The thing is, when buying gear, I always say, buy what enhances what you already have. And then when what you already have is slowing you down, that's kind of when I think you should start upgrading. And that's come over time and making sure that you're there. I see Ike says, but Andrew, I got to record in 4K. Guess what? A lot of phones can record in 4K. So that sounds like I'm saying porke. Porke. But 4K. And I see Stanley says, yeah, smoke creators for life. It's so good to see you here, Stanley. I hope you are doing well. And yep, Stanley, that's why I say up. Oh, I do 4K with the phone. 4K for the 3% max that actually watch it. Hey, this is actually a fun fact, and it is not hidden. Well, okay. It's not hidden in the terms like YouTube doesn't shy away from it, but it is in plain sight. So the thing that I see a lot of times is that 4K, 4K. There we go. 4K, 4K. But a lot of times going back to, that 3% and going back to the hidden in plain sight is if you go to YouTube, just in general, I'm going to Google YouTube because I Googled Google earlier. Oh, YouTube. Jokes aside, if I type in lighting, right, I'll just do that really quick. Give me a little bit more results here. So let me go ahead and pull up the screen. I'll make it full screen. Here you go. You guys deserve it. So if I go to filters, right, YouTube actually prioritizes by relevance, and I've talked about this many a time. So the first thing they look at is relevance. If you go to features, they'll put live generally first because it tends to be, again, if we go over here, it tends to be the most relevant information. Another thing that they highly prioritize because they want high quality content is 4K. And it's not going to get you, like if your content is bad, it's not really going to do that much, but it does actually matter to them a little bit. So I always say, don't discount the 4K. I know it could only be about 3%. I see Prince says 8K. Look, I am not ready. I believe that is Mark actually, but I am not ready for 8K yet. I know one day we're going to look back and it's like, can you believe people thought you could only upload in 1080p? I hope that day doesn't happen anytime soon. I'm just not ready for it. But jokes aside, that's kind of what happened. People were like, you're never going to need better than 720p. That's it. 1080p came. You're never going to need better than 1080p. 4K came. And then 8K. And then we'll go on. And it'll go on. And it'll never be enough. But that goes back to what I said, is that people focus on the wrong thing of gear. A lot of times, a phone video with proper lighting can be better than video shot on a super cinema camera with no lighting, no sound. This camera I'm using, and a lot of people think I have a really great image here. I like to believe I do. Was in the scheme of cameras, is not that expensive. I use my C920 all the time. It is wrapped right now because I needed it earlier and I took it back home. But I do use this thing all the time. And the C920 is perfectly fine. Your phone is fine, but if you're going to upgrade your gear, don't discount lighting. Don't discount audio. Think about that camera once you have that audio and lighting better, because if you just buy a camera, but you don't have good lighting and you don't have good audio, it doesn't matter that you have a great camera. It matters of what you put to surround it, right? Like this set here, I have 2 lights back there. We've talked about this and it's so important. So good gear doesn't cost a lot. I have 2 of these lights and I showed Aaron, if he's still around in the chat, become a prime. These 2 lights here, they are from Godox. Just a little bit of transparency. Godox has sent me stuff for free in the past. They did not send me this for free. So these are called their Litemons, right? And they are really good, really high quality lights. RGB, $35 USD for one of these. You can get 2 of these for $70. For lighting, that's great. And if you're lighting on a phone, you can have a key and fill light. They also have normal. So if I go and I click here, we can go to just normal white light. Ooh, it's a little different color temperature, right? But let's say I turn off my main light here. That light's not bad. It's not the same light I had, but it's not bad. Of course, it's not anywhere near where I had it, and I'm now have my arm in shot. But the idea is for this, that's not bad lighting. Switch back so I don't have to hold it the whole time. But the thing is that we discount this gear, not that expensive. It's going to go back here to help. Actually, I can put it here, help light up this shot a little bit. But the idea is, right, is that gear doesn't have to be expensive, but don't buy the gear out of order, and don't not create because you don't think you have the right gear. That is so important. The thing I see that stops people more than anything, whether you're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you are, is you don't create content, and that's the worst thing you can do. So, I want to see some of these questions. I see from Stanley Audio, fix audio first. So underrated. Absolutely. Actually, back in the day, the reason, if you ever want to know, this is one of my favorite things, is lights, camera, action is that way, is because the movies were silent. If you were to update that, I would probably say Mike's lights, camera, action. And so that order is Mike, lights, camera, action. And if you want to upgrade your gear, keep that in mind. Mike's lights, camera, action. That could actually be a sign if I ever have the time. So Mike's lights, camera, action is the order you need to think of when it comes to creating content. Because as Stanley said, audio is so important. Thank you so much, Helen, who says, I trust Andrew about light. I have taken a long time to get comfortable recommending lighting. I see, what light is that? This is, like I said, the Godox Litemons. I think I can just turn them off, give you a little bit better view of them. I got to find that sweet spot. So yeah, it's the Litemons from Godox. There we go. It's very blue in my face. I can just turn these off. But yeah, the Litemons from Godox. Hopefully you can see that. They are the LED 6R. I'm actually planning to make a video on these. So I really like them. They are super affordable for what they are. $35. I've seen them as cheap as 25 with some discount codes. So, use what you need to get the shot. But again, super. Make it a Mike, lights, camera, action. I approve. Make it a t-shirt. Hey, I just might. Ooh, well said. Mike's lights, camera, actions. And again, it goes back to thinking about what we can learn, the difference of the film sets. Is that light mountable? Absolutely. So it's got different ways you can light. You can put it on a camera with a hot shoe. It's got adapters. You can actually build, if you look here, they have hot shoes on them. So if you want to have the light and then you want a mic on top of it, or you want to do what I did and put multiple lights together like so, you absolutely can. Really great light. Wow, that's cheap. Is there a link down below? There can be. And just for that, I'll make sure to put an affiliate link. So if you want to check them out, again, Godox, I have worked with them in the past. They have not sponsored these lights, although maybe they should. Apparently, I'm doing a good job selling them. So I'll make sure to include a link. You know what? I'll have an affiliate link going in the chat. I'll post it right now. So if you want that Godox, that's an Amazon link. Should be working for you. I'll have it on screen just so if you want to see it, that is an affiliate link. And full disclosure, I will get a kickback. But, I just thought people wanted to see it. Again, goes back to the point that gear doesn't have to be expensive. There are some really great mics out there for super cheap as well. It's incredible how much more affordable gear is nowadays than when I started back in the day. So I really do have to say that gear doesn't matter. To quote my good friend, Dr. Elo, don't know if you're still here, F the tech. Not literally, but I think you get the idea. So my next stream, I actually will be using a combination of, this phone, this camera, different mics, just because it's going to be different. I'm challenging myself. I'm going to be cooking a meal while answering YouTube questions. So that's going to be a bit. Gord, it is so good to see you. If you are looking for some of the best content around recording your screen and creating content in general, check out Gord. It is so important to check that out. Several decent SD cards. Those are important too. Storage should not go underappreciated. You are going to need to store your content eventually. Although I guess if you film with your phone, you could buy terabyte storage in the cloud and never need to, but that's a different conversation, not what we're going into. But if you have questions, I have answers. I want to make sure that I'm answering some of the questions that you might have. It is great to see you, Gord. You know, Michael Jackson recorded Thriller on a Shure SM7. Yes, I saw that recently. And that just goes to show you what you have is what you need, right? Like, the thing is, some of the cameras we have on our phones are better cameras, technically, than what were shot Oscar-winning films on. Like, it is insane. And whether you're Android or iPhone, it's incredible that we have the technology in our pocket like that. Oh, man. I actually think that gear is one of those things that, I have been really focusing on affordability, and I see that from Helen. I am a gearhead, but who here isn't? I've actually been trying to help people, and I've been less of a gearhead, and it's caused me to be creative, which goes in my actual next step kind of perfectly, but we'll go early. So this is step 8. So when I'm doing the chapters, future Andrew will thank me. And that is challenge yourself. And a lot of times, what I've noticed, and this is a fault of my own, this is something I've talked to a lot of my friends about, is we're not challenging ourselves like we used to. So in what I want to do, one of the things I want to do is teach people how you can create a video with natural lighting. Obviously, I've opened a window to my right, but this isn't great, but it's not bad. With just a little bit more, I can increase it. I mean, you can still see the light behind me and the light over here hitting, but there are ways, like if I open this, I can make this a lot better. Now it's a little bit brighter, but obviously, like there are ways that you can improve your stuff that doesn't have to be expensive. And affordable filmmaking and affordable content creation has been a huge step and something I've been trying to do. So one thing I see from Gord is, are you going to use any stabilizer tech for the phone when you use it in your challenge? I do actually have a little gimbal I got for free from Joby. I've worked with them in the past, not paid by them, but it is a free product. I do like gimbals. I do think that it depends the kind of content. I mean, if I'm not moving that much, maybe. So I will go ahead and quickly. Can you explain the light setup? Do you use them for us like a side light? So with these two lights, I will break this down as much as I can. Just a little detour. Howdy, Diana Gladney. It is great to see you here. Another amazing creator who, gosh, there's so many amazing people in this community on YouTube. If you're not following, I highly recommend. But to answer your question, you on the back of these lights, there's the on-off switch. So I will show this here. It's gonna probably show on my face a little bit. So this is the orange light. You can click the M button, make it like normal. I would just put like one light here, so that I'll actually do that now for you, so you can get an idea of this light, because it's really not that hard of a setup. So this can be my key. This can now be my fill. You might be like, what is? So this is just my key and fill light. It's not bad. Not at all, actually. Like these two little lights, $35 right next to my camera. Obviously, I'll move them a little bit more. But this lighting, I mean, obviously it's a little harder shadow. So if I really wanted to, I could like move it over here a little bit more, give me a little bit more even. My mic is kind of cutting it off. But you get the idea. This isn't bad for what it is. Although it'd be a weird stream and I just look like I'm giving you a weird Andrew Can content hug where I'm too like bright. Whew. I'll turn on my other light. But hopefully that helps you. And yes, I cannot agree more. The phone audio these days is so good. I also need to turn these off because it's just a little bright in my room now. But to reattach them, there's multiple hot shoes on one of these lights. So I just put it there. I tighten this little connector here. And my two little $35 lights become very powerful. So yeah, that is just something that I enjoy, is talking about affordable things here. Almost in the barbecue to make it a real party. Look, I am so down to do a barbecue with how many barbecue channels that are usually in this chat. I am completely down. I actually will be cooking in an upcoming stream. So that's going to be fun. K-Elastic TV, who is in the chat, will be the inspiration. My audience has told me I'm making a Jamaican breakfast. Lord help me. But that goes back to challenging yourself, right? And the challenge I'm going to have is that I am challenging myself to answer questions about YouTube while cooking. So I'm going to practice what I preach. I'm putting myself out there. Lord knows it's probably not going to be good. But, you know, if I never try, I'll never know. So, yeah, I love gear. I think that it is important, but never let it stop you from creating content. I always say, you know, the things that you should order, again, mics, lights, camera, action. And then, you know, my next one, and this is probably the most important one in terms of content creation, is that as much fun as content creation can be, make sure it's something you still like doing. Sometimes you get down a rabbit hole because you're chasing views or you're chasing success and you start resenting creating content. And it's a trap I've seen a lot of my friends fall in, that they make content because they knew it was popular in the moment. But they weren't passionate about it, and now it's all they want, their audience wants. It's super important that you focus on creating content for a community you're passionate about and that you can talk about until you just are sick of it. And for me, I love talking about creating videos, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, wherever. Vertical, horizontal. The truth is that as long as you are creating content that you enjoy and things are getting better in ways you enjoy, that's what matters. And I'm so excited that every day on YouTube and all these different platforms, we're getting more data, more tools to make things better. And it is one of the best times to be a content creator these days. I see this question comes in from Rob. Your streams are looking real smooth. What are you buying next? Honestly, I don't have a lot more I need to buy. They're just things I want to like set up proper. So for me, one of the things I want to set up proper is just I probably will mount a C920 as my overhead light. I think that, you know, when it comes to it, it is a really good opportunity just to give a different perspective. There are times like with these lights, if I had an overhead camera setup, it'd be just a little bit better to show off than compared to this, where I'm like, all right, if you look here, just an example of that. Obviously, I'd like maybe a behind the scenes camera because I get asked all the time, like, what gear are you using? So I think that's super important. So those are some just things I'd like to do. I have a good question here from Gord. Do I enjoy making short videos? I think I do. I think the main thing is vertical for me is not natural. However, I think vertical video is sometimes, if not more, a truer sense of keep it short, make a good hook, and keep people watching. When I experiment with short videos, I find myself finding better hooks and being more engaging. I've learned that through working with other creators, working on some stuff at my work. And what I found is the hooks I've been making on my longer form content, because I've been trying to nail hooks on short form, have been keeping people watching more. So I've learned to enjoy it. It wasn't natural for me, but what I'd learned from it, I brought to my YouTube channel. So I think it's overall worth the win. Gonna practice my own advice and hydrate. If you haven't drank water out there, folks, please do. I don't think I've gotten to make shorts yet, says Ike. Hate vertical, says 30-day reviews. Whoa, I challenge you, just 30 days. Give it now, just kidding. But I get it, right? The thing is, and this is a great take from Diana, vertical videos are very fun for me personally. I think give it a shot. The thing is, I know a lot of people aren't happy with vertical video. I do think that YouTube could do a better job of splitting them or integrating them cross-functionally. I think my main thing when it comes to vertical video is that I find myself wanting more of it and less at the same time. And what I mean by that is I want more in sense of I like consuming it. I didn't like creating it naturally at first. So for me, vertical video has been a challenge in a way I was completely antithetical to everything I learned in film school to a point. Because the lighting is still the same. Gotta have good lighting, gotta have good audio, gotta make good content. So for me, vertical video has just been new. On a lot of these platforms, TikTok, Reels, wherever you're putting them, even shorts, you can have fun. You can use audio that I couldn't use in a normal video. there are different ways to have fun with it. And so what I'll tell you is experiment out there. You might find that you like something. I know for a fact that a lot of your 30-day review stuff, like review content, 30-day reviews on TikTok is huge. I think you have a great natural fit for it. I have done them for TikToks and shorts, but our eyes are horizontal for a reason. It all feels unnatural, and there's always stuff in the way of the video. That's a very fair take. As you Stanley says, I'm not a fan, but I play with them from time to time. My subscribers don't like that at all. Again, going back to your audience didn't come for it. And that's another problem that I have about the YouTube thing is I wish they would just come out and say, should I make a new channel or is it fine on my existing? I tend to find making a new channel is better, at least if you're going to try shorts. I'm still open to vertical, just going to have fun. And that's a great approach. I've debated creating a shorts channel for a while and just experimenting and having fun. And this goes to step 9. I think this is something that's so important when it comes to whether you're a videographer, whether you are just a person, is that you should be having hobbies outside what you talk about on YouTube. Hear me out. You don't need to put everything you do online. Shocker, I know. What I mean by that is a lot of times I'll see a channel, they start having success, but then they get into something new and they introduce that to the channel and it doesn't make sense and it doesn't mix. It is okay to naturally include your hobbies, right? Like one of the things I'm passionate about, mechanical keyboards. I created this custom key layout. This is something I got into more recently. I talked to a bunch of friends about this. Doesn't mean I'm making a video on it, but if I want to feature some beautiful B-roll and I want to show off a keyboard in the background, gets people interested. Maybe they'll leave a comment. I've actually done that a few times. So I would say when it comes to hobbies, it's important to have hobbies outside of YouTube, outside of what you create. And if you want to include them, just have them in the background, have them be a part of you. Make a new channel. Maybe that's how you experiment with shorts. But it's so important to try new things. And by getting into a new hobby, right? I got into mechanical keyboards. I forgot, and we forget this all the time, especially like I know YouTube very well. I know video content very well. But admittedly, and this is being very honest, I forget a lot what it's like to be a beginner. And we all do. But when you're new to a hobby, you're Googling stuff that to someone who knows the hobby, it's absurd. But to you, you have no clue. And so going back to that beginner's mindset is so crucial. And it gives you so much empathy. I tell you, man, learning mechanical keyboards when you know nothing about it, you're humbled so quickly. You go way over your head way too quickly. But that's so many hobbies, and that's why it's so fun. And that's why we get passionate about that hobby, but it's remembering that beginner mindset, right? That's why I enjoy, trying new things. Wow, some have 1,100 followers on TikTok and never post a video. Oh, hey, I wouldn't look that kid horse in the mouth. I see from Diana vertically is honestly no stress content. I teach and do skits. Those two models work well for me. And that's something new that I don't think I've seen on your content, but now I got to check out your shorts or vertical video. See Doug Houston in the house. Doug is amazing. I use stories for behind the scenes. Shorts are educational and fun skits I create. I like stories a lot more than I like shorts. I know they're in the same realm. But what I use stories for actually, especially on YouTube, is sometimes maybe they should, I've talked to YouTube, make this a feature. I think if you were to bring back video replies on YouTube, but they are shorts, it'd be awesome. Because I get a lot of questions that I can't type out or explain, or if I could just show in a video, it'd be better. I think if you have that functionality, it is so great for everyone involved. I just think it is something that YouTube desperately needs. So yeah, that's something I wish they, put there. So that is something I've talked to them about. Just something to think about. I also think that when it comes to creating content, it's super important that you think of other stuff that makes you excited for it. I also see Diana says occasionally, not officially. I see from Doug on TikTok, you're making a separate new audience. Exactly. And sometimes you can bring that separate new audience to it. And like I said, if I could reply to comments through shorts or stories on YouTube, I think that could bring a new audience on what I want to do. See, Ike says, I go on rants about other things I like that isn't related to my channel video that I tend to cut out. Very important, again, that audience conversation. From Dr. Bob Gaming, I think it's really started with Vine. And when Vine went down per se, TikTok went for verticals. YT wanted to dip its toes into it. That's pretty close. I would say that, Vine was the pioneer. Talk about like having a gold mine but not knowing it yet. Vine died so TikTok could run. It also walked. But jokes aside, I mean, there was Musically, which was TikTok before TikTok, and I think they had to change. And that's another great example. They had to change to become what they are. And sometimes you got to change your content. Maybe that's trying shorts, and maybe that's trying something new. But the truth is, there's a lot we got to try as creators. But it's remembering our audience, it's keeping them focused, and it's keeping it going. Because if I can do it, and Gord can do it, and Helen can do it, and Ike can do it, and Doug and Diana and Dr. Elo and Rob can do it, then everyone out there watching can too. That's a lot of stuff. I see this from Doug Houston. The new short sampling, 5 seconds of my video from any video, is going to allow response type content. Sure. I guess I mean that more as, imagine if as a creator, as comments, we could show that on screen and reply to it in a short video. I think that'd be good. I see this from Gord. Are you working on any film videos these days? I actually have a few short films that I showed a little bit earlier on Asana. I just have some ideas that are in my head around content and like how some of the struggles of this is something I've been meaning to get out for a long time. But I have a couple films in there. I actually have a lot of films in there. But yeah. And that goes into like me being creative. A lot of times I'll try stuff as a tutorial to bring onto my film. I like stories too. I think stories are a lot of fun. I think they're easier, and if you want to dip your toes into shorts, I think stories are a good way. So I tried to record my electric guitar and my singing at the same time for a live thing, but it sounded bad. Yeah, a lot of times we'll have to get it right. And some of the things about live is if it's bad, you find out in real time. Where if you edit it, you can kind of play with it. But I hope you were able to get it fixed, Helen. Make sure it's something you enjoy. I go to TikTok a lot to help think outside the box. It's very versatile. And that's good too. You can be inspired by the content there, but don't spend so much time consuming that you're not creating. I see Helen says, I do stream for other creators now and templating shorts. Is it harder to market yourself? I definitely think when it comes to marketing yourself, right? This goes to a lot of creators. They have this issue where how do I market myself? How do I make people care? And I think that when it comes to marketing yourself, a lot of times we approach it from the wrong direction, right? What I mean by that is that when we are talking to creators or we're trying to get people invested in us, we need to show them and prove to them we're worth investing in, right? So like in this live stream, I'm answering questions. I'm having communications with you, Helen, with Doug, and with Rob and Kaylastic and Diana and Gord, which I am so happy to see both of you. But I'm actually excited to see all of you. But the thing is like when you're doing that, you got to bring the value. When you're going on a date, you bring the value, you bring yourself to hopefully show the other person the best version of yourself. Every video, you try to help that person who's watching, and that is one singular person. Sometimes it's a group, but usually it's one person. And you're trying to give them an experience. You're trying to help them. You're trying to entertain them. There's so many different ways you can do things. By the end of the day, is that you're trying to help them. Worth it or not says just popping by for a bit to say hello. Hello, worth it or not. If you ever want to know if gear is worth it or not, it's in the name. I love your name all the time. Like you have one of my favorite names. And I think that you have also some really good content. If you're looking for great content, again, I'm so privileged to have the amazing group of people I have that watch and comment and support this channel. So thank all of you. It really does mean a lot. I see from Helen, I'm still working on some kind of Pro Tools, Loopback, StreamYard thing. Oh man, I haven't. Avid Pro Tools are really important. Helen says, thank you, Andrew, by the way. Looking forward to meeting everyone in this great community. And if you would like to join, you are watching now, you come this late, you can join our Discord server. It's where we have a lot of conversations. We are working on, making it better. I'm actually going to be talking to Ike, who Ike is in the chat, who helps run. It is our co-owned server. The KD you see here and the KD you may see when it is, I have something on screen, stands for Can Do Creator Community. That is what we are there. So super worth joining, in my opinion. I'm very biased. So I also see this from Worth it or not? No, you rock. I feel it's like in this Spider-Man 2 video game. They're like, Spidey, you the man. And he replies, no, you the man. Mohammed says, best channel on YouTube. Well, thank you. I do my best. I'm going to put that up there for Ike. Ike always tells me to bring more people to the Discord. She's bored. Jokes aside, but it has been a really great conversation. Now, Diana, one thing I need to do is one of these days I need to get you on this channel. I have been very slow to collaborate with people only because I've been way too busy on things that are not this channel and this community, and I'm fixing that this year. It's been one of my big goals. Now that I'm all moved and settled in, it is a lot easier. But, you know, a lot of times the easiest thing we can do is just create content. And I think that is probably the easiest thing that I'm going to recommend. If you've watched the stream, whether you're watching the replay, whether you were watching this live, I hope you go out there and create something that is incredible. Remember, it is mics, lights, camera, action, but none of those things matter as much as the message you're trying to convey with people. Do the research, plan it out, have fun with it. And most importantly, don't let gear hold you back. Just learn, create, and grow. Remember, I'm Andrew Can, and if I can, you can too. Thank you all so much for watching.